Hello, my lovely listeners. Lovely that you're here with Talk with Anne and Spirit, who we love to this podcast or vlog, who we create for spiritual entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, mystics, use witches and magicians and everything in between. Yeah. So today my guest is Souli. I'm so looking forward to this. Who she's a best-selling co-author of Success with Source from Source Purpose Publishing. She empowers individuals on their awakening journey by aligning them with their true purpose and inner wisdom, unlocking their innate gifts, talents, and abilities. And through her work, she guides clients to navigate life's challenges in ease and embrace their true selves, fostering a world where living from the heart benefits all. And not only that, because she's not even wrote this down, not only that, but she's actually a great channel and has channeled the Guardian Oracle cards where she's nearly about finished these, well, a good way halfway through anyway, and I can't wait to see them. And maybe we'll get a wee reading from her as well. Hello, how are you doing, my darling?
Oh, I'm doing great, Anne, and it's lovely to meet you and to speak to you. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because we know each other. We've known each other for a while. We've seen
mhm.
each other online, but we've not actually met as such, have we?
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really good. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
So I opened a channel about 30 years ago, and it was kind of at the beginning of my real true awakening, which I think also happens for most of us through
Yeah,
healing, for our own personal
yeah,
healing. We're kind of shoved in a certain direction.
yeah,
And since then, I channeling has been a part of my life
yeah,
every single day. I mean, once you open to channel consciously,
yeah,
it is a part of your life, and it was so transformative. But for
yeah,
many, many, many years, it was all part of my healing journey. It was honing my skill, I realize now in retrospect. Um,
yeah,
and it was doing a lot of earth work, a lot of what they used
yeah,
to call digging the garden, which we were
yeah,
all doing back in the
hmm
day, when it was really, really heavy, heavy work.
yeah,
And then I was a dancer, fell pregnant, was moved away from the dancing world. And when it came to a stage where it was like, okay, what do I do now? I found my way to life coaching, and I did a course with Christy Whitman at the QSCA Quantum Success Coaching Academy and became a qualified Law of Attraction life coach. And so then, as I was stepping out into the world of this is what I am now, I had a wonderful lady who bridged the gap for me because it was like, okay, tumbleweeds, what happens now? I've got all the tools, I've got all the
yeah,
gear. But
yeah,
when I started with her and she shoved me to do a live, what came through was that channeling was how I
yeah,
really assist my clients. And
yeah,
that is at the up front and center of what I do because it is extraordinary. I mean, you'll know as a channel,
yeah, 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 yeah,
absolutely extraordinary. The amount of transformation that a client goes
yeah,
through in a session is just phenomenal.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm always amazed at how watching their faces and seeing them from the start and how they are at the finish is like chalk and cheese always. And
yep,
it may be
hmm
something simple
yeah,
that comes
hmm
through, but it will be always transformative. It will
yeah.
always be something that
Completely
will be,
agree with you.
yeah,
Completely, yeah,
extraordinary. So
yeah,
now I literally help people to find their gifts, to find their way, to find their purpose, and I almost like a spiritual guide, a spiritual
yeah.
mentor. Yeah,
A
because
bit
I
like
call myself a
myself, really,
mentor.
aren't you? Really, when
Yeah.
you think about it, because I'm the same. I mean, I've been getting all these awards that's been coming through, and where did that one come from? Where did that one come from? Which is good, but it doesn't. I always think to myself, it's a nice wee. The old Dan would have been fair away with that, the bridal designer when I won awards there, because I really wanted awards when I was a bridal designer. But I think as you connect to source and you really are, what's out there, the energy and the other dimensions and the channels and the downloads that we get and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not how it would be when we were younger. Would you agree with that? You know, things that
Oh,
we would have really been in awe of when we were younger, but when we have that deep connection, um, it changes, doesn't it? We change.
oh, yes, definitely. I mean, that
Yeah,
wouldn't have been on my radar back in the day because I never even imagined myself as being, in service the way that I am.
yeah,
Yeah, under the radar, not visible as I was for many, many years. In fact, they told us that we made a vow that we would be basically incognito until a certain stage, and they said, right, okay, now, boom, out you go.
yeah.
So that wasn't even on my radar, but I actually hear you. Although I'm sitting here and I'm celebrating, and I'm in awe for you because I think you deserve those awards. I
Oh,
know what you
lovely.
mean. I know what you
Yeah,
mean. I know
yeah.
that that's not why you do it. That's not your focus.
No,
That's not your
no,
driving force. And so
no.
it's kind of those are like, yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you. But that's not what drives you. Your driving
No.
force is to be of assistance, to be of service,
Yeah.
and to put your message out in the world because
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
all of us, light weavers, light workers, whatever you like to call us, we all
yeah.
have a really powerful message that is needed now,
Yes,
really
very
needed.
much so. Very much so.
Mm.
So tell me, my dear, I'm dying to hear about these guardians of nature. Tell me how they came to you and you know, a wee bit more about them.
So it was amazing actually, because as I said, I've been channeling for nearly 30 years and I've been
Yeah,
channeling Ascended Masters. Viomus is the one that comes through most of the time now. Metatron, Sananda, Maitreya were in the early days. And although Viomus has always been with me through my light buddy who I practiced with. But then, interestingly enough, I think it like I get confused whether it was 2019 or 2020, but I think it was 2020 in the early hours of the morning. I woke up and I was definitely awake because I rubbed my eyes several times and I squinted. I had the most extraordinarily powerful experience.
yeah,
The whole air about me was sparkling, and I mean really
yeah,
big
mm,
sparkles of light, and the whole room was pulsing like this.
yeah,
I mean, I could feel it. In fact, I looked over to see whether my partner was awake, but fast asleep. Um, and then I heard this big, beautiful, loving voice. Usually, when you channel, it's in your head, or the words come
yeah,
through straight away without you even just flow through. But if you're channeling for yourself, it's like a voice in your head.
yeah,
This was
mhm,
outside, and it was the guardians of nature. And basically, they wanted to get my attention. Boy, did they get my attention! And they said, "We want to work with you. Will you allow us to work with you?" And it was like, look at my diary. Oh, well, I don't, no brainer, no brainer.
you don't have a say in the matter
Oh, I
when they
don't
come
know.
through.
I don't
You know, when they come through, they come through. Whether you like it or not, sometimes, isn't it?
Well, but
Um,
it was no brainer. It was like
yeah,
absolutely. I mean, my connection with nature and my deep love for nature, which I think we all have as like
yeah,
weavers, like workers. And then that was it for a moment. It was like,
yeah,
okay, we're going to work with you. Just be prepared. Blah blah blah. Nothing for a long while. Actually, I say nothing, and then I remember that vivid things started happening. And I always say that I'm going to be carried away by by the men in
yeah,
my coats when I say this.
yeah.
I'd be walking down my street in my village, and beside me there'd be a whale that would come and swim beside me, or the mermaids. I'd have a couple of centaurs standing each side of me when I go walking. Obviously,
Wow.
not like visual, like you can see them here,
Yeah,
there,
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
but really nonetheless vivid, and the
yeah,
presence of them there.
yeah. Mm.
So there was something powerful that happened from that connection straight away. But other than that, nothing. And then I got through this huge download, journeying with the Guardians of Nature, and I did a 6-week program, which I'm hoping very soon to bring out as something that people can enjoy. And that was extraordinary. It was going through the veil, through the waterfall, into the realm of the Fae, and meeting the fairies, the gnomes, the elves,
Beautiful.
all of it. And the elves, of course, are the guardians of nature. But but then nothing, 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 nothing for and it was like I was twiddling my thumbs. I was thinking, okay, I'm ready. Come on, come, 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 come. Doing all my work, my usual work, with Viomus and amazing stuff with Viomus. And then I got a title, Walking with the Guardians of Nature. I thought, oh, that's a nice program. Oh, I love that. Waiting,
Yeah,
waiting. And I didn't get anything. And I thought, okay, and I got visions of walking in the steps or by side
yeah,
with the Guardian of Nature, and the Guardian of Nature pointing out certain aspects of nature
yeah.
and what have you, but nothing. nothing. And you know what it's like unless you get the information, unless you get the download, nothing. Then I saw a post of you, beautiful lady, sitting, I think, by the pool in Vietnam with your laptop
That's right.
on your lap,
Yeah.
and you were designing your cards, and the images jumped out at me and literally hit me in the face, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, and walking with the guardians of nature, magical oracle of channeled messages, etc. And it was like, that's
Wow.
it. And from that
Yeah.
moment forward, I've been absorbed in creating the images
Beautiful.
and became part of Katya's amazing
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful for you and for that moment of the flow of downloads that has
Yeah.
not stopped since. And I am
Beautiful.
loving meeting the guardians, meeting the magical creatures, bringing through
Yeah.
channeled messages. You have to do it gently though, because who'd have thought that fairies would knock you sideways? But I
Yeah.
did two channeled messages from the fairies in one day, and the next 2 days I was like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
out for the
Yeah.
count. They were
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been amazing, and I can't wait to put this box of magic out into the world because it feels
Yeah.
like a portal. Feels like a time when the veils starting to really crumble, basically, or
Yes.
dissipate, and that we're actually going to be more and more in conscious connection with
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
beautiful realm of magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think it's the timing, divine timing,
Mate,
absolutely.
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing how something like that. And I remember actually sitting there by the pool in Hoan, 5 star, beautiful. The hotel was that beautiful. We went back 3 times. You know, it
Mm,
was just because we were just. Oh, it was just an amazing energy there in Hue in Vietnam, and and I actually created those cards in like a couple of days. It was like it
wow.
was just. I'd already been downloaded with the Oracle, so I knew everything that was going and what was going in. But I just felt when I finished, I felt there was something missing. There was just I thought, it's still not right. There's still not. I think I had something like I don't know, 54 cards or something like. I can't remember, but there was it was something like that. And I thought there's something just not right yet. And what it was is I'd missed a section, and I'd went to sleep one night, a few maybe a week, 2 weeks later, here they went again, as they do, and very quickly again was able to do that. But I'm a designer anyway, so I
Oh,
think I'm able to do it very quickly because I've got that design background. You know, I used to teach design, so
oh,
yeah,
that makes perfect sense. They're so
yeah.
stunning. They're absolutely gorgeous and striking.
Yeah, so I'm lucky that way that my background, my last business, and I used to have the bridal business with staff, and and I used to design for celebrities and gentry and all the rest of it. But burnout, 3 burnouts, and a taught full time with being a single parent with 2 boys as well. I mean,
Oh
and I
my
looked after my mother and father. How the hell I did that, I don't know. No wonder I had burnout. No
my
wonder I had
goodness.
burnout. And that's why I do what I do now, because I went looking for there's got to be more than this, because that's what I'm saying to you. If I'd have won those awards with Anne back when she was a bridal designer, she'd have been in her element because she was very materialistic. Yeah,
Mhm,
because
mhm, mhm.
but my soul was dying. She
Yeah.
was dying.
Mhm,
She was not happy at all.
mhm,
And then I had to, like yourself, I had that a spiritual awakening. I was able to connect very, very quickly, which blew my mind. And if I didn't start doing that, I would have killed myself, because
mhm,
through being a workaholic, I worked hard and I partied hard. That was my way of getting away from it.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and I look back now and I think, oh my God, how I didn't kill myself, I don't know. So we're definitely made of strong stuff, I'll say that. And it's very interesting that when I was going, and I don't know if this was the same for you, when I was going to be the spiritual teacher, so much fear came up for
mhm.
me. The fear that was, and every spiritual leader or teacher or spiritual coach that I speak to all say the same. Not
Well, the
one
interesting,
person goes and does it and says, "Oh, no, 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 that was fine."
yeah.
Every single
Mm.
one of us has this huge fear.
Well, do you know what I found out recently now? And I think it was in Katya's group on one of the Zooms, is that pretty much all of us, although you wouldn't believe it with what we have to do, most of us, if not all of us, are introverts actually, in truth. I don't know
Yeah,
if that's the case for you. It certainly is for me. So to actually put yourself on a public platform is not the most comfortable thing to
yeah,
do, to say the least. And you have these stages, don't you, of barriers.
yeah,
You get to a certain stage, and then there's another barrier. There's another growth
yeah,
spurt that you've got to make
yeah,
and to step over that fear barrier, and
yeah,
then you do it, and you explode into another
yeah,
expansion of growth. And then there's another one, and there's another one. But yeah, no,
yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
yeah,
and I think it's because there's a lot of judgment and
yeah.
what have you come, and because obviously a lot of it is in the invisible world, you
Mm.
know. So because it's in the invisible world, you know, people just think, oh, we're taking them to the loony bin, you know, but they're not. They've lost it. They've absolutely lost it. Yet, if they would, the people who are very close, and I'm speaking to you, if you feel that what are they talking about, I really say to you to connect to that heart space of yours, connect to that soul of yours, because they've really got some powerful, powerful gifts to show you, you know, that would really
Mm.
allow your life to flow. You know, allow your life
Oh,
to flow. So tell me, my dear, what about this book that I see at the back of you? Success, was it
oh,
Success
success
with
with
Source?
source. This was my, and I've got the bug now. This was my first, my introduction, if you will, into becoming an author, which I think is very much part of my future, my
Yeah,
present
yeah,
actually. But I became part of this book, co-author of Success with Source, that became a number one international bestseller. And it is basically talking about, your journey, about
yeah,
how you became, first of all, awakened, and then how that became a part of your life and a part of how you bring your message to the world. And therefore, in alignment, being in alignment, you create a certain amount of success. So
yeah,
yeah, and it's a brilliant book. Amazing women, amazing women. And actually there's another one in the pipeline from the same publisher. As I said, I've got the
uh,
bug. And the new one's called I'm so glad you left me. And it doesn't necessarily mean the split of a relationship. It could mean
yeah, yeah,
something lifting from you, a spiritual awakening, something that dropped away, a happening that changed your life.
yeah.
But I'm a part of that as well. So that's coming out soon. And they're still looking for authors. So yeah, so I'm looking at you. You
And
probably got
how would you ever think of writing a book for yourself? You know, would
Oh
you ever
yes.
think
Well,
of
the interesting thing
yeah,
is when I wrote for Success with Source, the initial draft, I never saw myself as an author, but when I started sharing my story, which was the most cathartic, healing thing that I think that I've ever done, it ended up being, I can't remember about how many thousand words it was, but it's only supposed to be, how was it supposed to, how many, I can't remember how many words it was, but it was way too big. She said,
yeah,
Souli, she said, you're going to have to edit a little bit. And I was like, oops. She said, but keep that aside for your book. Now, for a future moment, there's going to be children's books connected with the Guardians of Nature, I know.
yeah, oh, yeah. It
But
sounds yeah, yeah,
yeah, because I think that's also important to keep them in that connection that
yeah,
they have so
yeah,
beautifully in that wonder. But this will be my story,
yeah,
but interwoven with messages from Viwamus and probably from the Guardians of Nature. And I see the book as the big little book. There's going to be a coffee
yeah,
table book with stunning images and just the
yeah,
kind of quotes
yeah,
called the big little book. There's going to be
yeah,
an oracle, the big little oracle, and and so on and so forth. It could go on and on.
yeah,
But that's in the pipeline. But that's very much feels like it's bubbling away on the back
yeah,
burner because it feels like it's something that I have to do. But for the moment, I think this oracle and then the 12 books that my coach, my right hand person who's with me on the journey, has actually had a vision. She says, you're going to be writing 12 children's books. I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see. We'll do this
I've
first.
actually that's amazing. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because I know the fun you get from doing the children's book. Because obviously I've published a children's book, and I also published two of my own books, the An Empath's World to Freedom. And that book, I lost 4 stone writing that book.
Wow.
Released
Yeah.
4 stone. So you're not telling me that we don't hold weight for when the energy like that, you know? But yeah, and I mean, I wrote that book in about 8 months. And then I did the No BS Spirituality, which is a fun book to write with a few swear words and what have you. And I did that in 3 months
Wow.
because once you start, and the kids one,
Mhm.
I did in one day.
Oh,
One day,
oh, no.
because I used to work predominantly with children because that was my passion, was because I knew that children needed, like yourself, they need to remember, they need to know that what they're feeling, because a lot of kids are behaviors and anxieties and what have you, and there's nothing really there for them to help them with that. And I used to do it in a really different way to what most people would do, and I actually created this program for one of the boys that I used to see. Yeah, and oh, he was in awe of this book. You know that well, it wasn't a book at that stage. It was just like a program that I made for him, but I got animations made that were just like him and all the rest of it, and it really made him feel that special way. And this is a lad that really, when he first came to me, I mean, oh. He sat there and went, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And he tried to get out the door and everything. And then but by the second visit, he was running to the door, because I used to bake with
Oh,
them, and I used to do
beautiful.
some completely different to what Cams and everything do. Not that Cams it does really good stuff. However, some kids need something else, as
Mhm.
you probably know. So yeah, so from those images, I was out on my walk like yourself, nature. I used to get massive downloads in my walks in Maspedead because I used to walk at the waterfalls and
Mm.
it's like you speak to the fairies and all the rest of it. And I got this download that you need to write a kids book, and it was how to be a superhero,
Oh,
and it was really just using EFT for children when their those anxiety feelings would come up and all the rest of it. And it was 10 steps how to become a superhero. And it was really, I did it in one day. One day I had it all done
yes.
and published. But it
Oh,
was such a joy to do. That was my playtime. It was
oh,
play. It was
beautiful.
it was play. And you'll find probably that when you do your kids' books, it'll be play.
Oh, beautiful. Well, it's interesting. We both had the same vision about one of the books because it's going to be one of the books is going to be one of the pixies that I channel for the cars, Chitwick, and it's fun. I think fun is his thing. And we both saw him tumbling from page to page, like doing
Yeah,
a little flip and landing. And I was thinking, how do I do that? I'm sure there's a way of doing that. But yeah, but so that book I think is just going to be because it's
yeah,
going to be the beginning of it. I think because
yeah,
his very
yeah.
much his energy is within the book. I can feel it, and yeah, and when you see the card, you can feel his energy as well, his cheekiness
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
sense of fun. Yeah, I know once I start and when the divine timing's right, it's just going to be, phew, and I'm
yeah,
looking forward to it because I think it's so important when I hear what you did for that boy. That's
yeah,
priceless,
yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
priceless,
yeah.
and they do need that. I mean, I didn't know what feelings were when I was little.
No,
I was
same here.
completely shut off to
Yeah,
feelings.
same here. I was like that until I was in my 40s.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
so disconnected. I was going after the wrong things,
yeah,
like a lot of people do, when we've been dragged up as kids and we have quite an adverse childhood and what have you. I mean, I certainly did. I was in children's homes and what have you. And but I don't look at that and think, oh, what a poor life I've had. I look at that and go, God, that gave me so many tools and strength that
exactly.
for that, because I've did a
Mhm,
lot of
mhm.
healing around that when you awaken, as you well know, so I look at that as being my groundwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
for what I
Yeah.
do now, and being empathic as well, for understanding other people for where they're coming from.
Mm. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's very interesting um, that I worked with those children as well. For many, and some of them even yet when with me traveling, I'll get messages from them.
Oh.
And can you just go and check my energy? And can you do this? And
Oh.
can you do that? And I'll drop everything for them.
Oh,
Because
bless.
to me it's took them all their courage to contact you. So I think it's only
Mm.
right that I, and I love doing it for them. Because I know
Oh.
they're going to feel so much better. They feel supported,
Mhm.
especially when
Mhm.
someone dies in the family and things like
Mm.
that. So, my dear, it's absolutely amazing that you're doing that. So, if you were to do, say, a reading, and I know you've not got your cards fully done, but if you were to draw a card for the listeners just now, what would that card be from your deck that you're just about there with of the
Let me
guardians of
see.
nature?
I suppose actually because he popped up. He popped up. It might be Chickwick,
Yeah.
the pixie, probably. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
what would you say to the listeners? What guidance would you give to the listeners for that?
I can actually, if you want, I could read the message, the channeled
Yeah,
message
yeah,
for
on
you.
you go. Down too when she starts those as well. Regardless if it's a year down the line or what have you, we'll put the links down there. Idea.
A word of warning. I have read out several of the messages to my own community and to my partner, and somebody, actually a client of mine, because I did it. I do these monthly musings or musings every now and then, and I broke down as I was reading this card, and I said to my partner, "How can I do this? Because every time I read them, I break down." And she said, one of my clients said, whenever I speak a truth,
Yes.
I cracks me up. So if I do get, I might not with Chickwick because I've read it a couple of times, but just a word of warning,
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
and to know that
that's
the
fine.
energy of Chickwick comes through when you're reading it as well. So I am Chickwick, happy to make your acquaintance. Come kick your shoes off and join me in this bubbling brook. Come splash in the water, dance, sing. Feel the water caress your fingers. Just for now, put your troubles in this magic pouch. I will hold them for you. You would benefit from some fun, laughter, and play. Just for now, enter my world. Throw your garment of sorrow off and join me in this healing water. Fun is the order of this now. Let me show you how. Perhaps you have forgotten. Perhaps you don't have time. I have heard all the excuses, believe me. You deserve this respite, this nourishing, necessary fun time. I see you are remembering bit by bit this magical space of cleansing is all your resistance. Bit by bit, this magical space is clearing all your resistance away. So all that's left is laughter and fun, fun, fun. My job today is to remind you to find the humor in life. Laugh at yourself. I do. I am never disappointed. I am a constant source of buffoonery and mishaps. Let me show you how. Let me remind you of the healing power of laughter. Just for now. Have fun. The world can wait. Fun time is time well spent. Come, let me remind you. So that's Chickwick.
Beautiful. Do you know when you were saying that, it was as if my heart was just getting so opened up. That
Oh,
the
beautiful.
energy was just uh, really, really fun, light, sparkly energies coming through there. Beautiful, absolutely
Oh,
beautiful.
no, thank you.
Yes, you definitely need to write a book about him. Yes.
Yes, yeah,
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 yeah, because you can feel the fun element. So it's been an absolute pleasure, my dear. Absolute
yeah.
pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
everybody, please subscribe because it does really help the cause. And we're trying to bring our own tribe here to expand that consciousness and lighten the world as light workers and what have you. So just click the link below and subscribe. It'd be absolutely amazing. Thank you. Speak to you later. Bye bye. La 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 la